So I've been seeing a lot of other YouTubers talk about deck boxes lately and reviewing them, and I figured as someone with quite a lot of them myself, I'd probably be qualified to jump in as well. So before we get started, I just want to give you guys the sort of benchmarks that I'll be using for these deck boxes. So this is going to be our smallest benchmark here. This is a Vanguard deck for premium that has an extra deck. Altogether, this is a total of 66 cards. So it is going to be similar to something you can compare with Yu-Gi-Oh! In an extra deck. Of course, this has more cards, but it is the same size here. Then we've got ourselves here a medium, essentially. This is a Vanguard standard deck here, which is 50 cards, but they are double sleeved. And we also have these thick sleeves that I really like, so they're thicker than most normal sleeves. So this is going to be sort of our medium. Again, this is the same size as Yu-Gi-Oh! It is the Japanese size as they call it. This here is going to be our large. This is a Digimon deck, which has 55 cards. These are the standard size. So this is your Pokemon, your Magic, I believe your One Piece, Weiss, etc. Will be this size. These are single sleeved. And finally, this is going to be our extra large here. This is yet another Digimon deck, 55 cards of the standard size, but they are double sleeved. So it is quite thick here. So for all of these decks that we'll be taking a look at, just keep these sizes in mind when I bring them up. I know that there's a lot of differences in card sizes for different decks and different games. So just try and sort of use what I've mentioned here in terms of how many cards there are and, you know, fill in the blanks for what I don't have. So the first deck box we're going to take a look at here is the classic Ultra Pro deck box here. This is the classic box that most people think about, I think, when they think about deck boxes. These come in a various assortment of different colors. I've got a sort of magenta pink one here, and then I've got another white one here, and they have a couple of different, you know, designs, but usually the same thing. And they have this top here where you can usually, I presume, write your deck's name on and whatnot. These are okay. They're a little bit flimsy. The hinge here sometimes can wear out over time, so I'm not a huge fan of these per se, but they are extremely cheap and easy to get. So this is what it's going to look like with our small here. Pretty, you know, snug fit for the most part, but you got a little bit of wiggle room, so it's very easy for you to stick your fingers, take it out. The next up for our medium, this one is a little, you know, not recommended, but it does fit here. You have the space just because the cards jolt out so much. It does close and everything. It's very solid because these fill up this box very full. I would not recommend these for double sleeved of the smaller size. And we'll do the size comparison here for the standard single sleeve, and it is pretty good here. Got a bit more space for a couple of more cards here, but it fits in relatively well. But I assume that you maybe won't use these if you play something that is more than the 55 cards here that I have for Digimon. And for our extra large here, it is actually not really going to fit, if I'm being honest with you. It just does not fit. If you have a card game that is maybe 40 cards or something like that, you might just be able to fit that, because if we take out a couple here, let's say that's relatively about as much, and try and stick it in here, it will fit, and it will close, but you'll have a little bit of space there, so it doesn't close all the way. So I would not recommend that for that. So again, to sum up, the Ultra Pro deck box is relatively cheap. It's decently durable and can hold almost all the sizes, but I would not recommend it for some of them. Next up, we'll talk about the Ultimate Guard Boulder deck case here. These are quite a big favorite of mine. I was a little bit more in favor of them, but something happened with them that I'll get into. They are a little bit more expensive than the Ultra Pro one that we just went over, but not by too much. They come in many different colors here. So we've got a blue, we've got a yellow, we've got ourselves here a black as well. They're all see-through, which is really cool. They also come in different sizes here. So we've got this yellow, which is the 60 card version or size. We've also got this one here, which is the 100 card size, and you can look at the difference here. It is quite different. It is almost the size of two of them put together. So if you like your big deck boxes, this is nice. But if you like a more slimmer deck box, I like these a lot because they don't take up a lot of space and they're very sort of smooth and flush, right? So it's very easy to just pack these closely together. And of course, since you have the different colors, you can accessorize, and also you can take a look at sort of what card or what deck, looking at one of the cards, which is really nice. Probably wondering how to open these, and what you do is you just go ahead and you push on these sides here and it'll come apart like that. So we've got a deck here, and you just get these two sides here, which you can then clip back together here to make the deck box. They do have an attachment that goes at the bottom here for you to put in your dice and tokens and all that kind of stuff, which this one does not have. Something I forgot to mention with the Ultra Pro one is that does not really have any space or compartment for any of your dice or anything like that. These were pretty nice, but I fell out of in favor a little bit just because of the sort of little things here, little anchors to hold the deck box together. I thought it was pretty good, and I figured that they would not break, but I do have one of my older ones here which did break apart, and you can see sort of the other side is starting to give some wear and tear. So in terms of durability, these are not the absolute best. Unfortunately, maybe I've just gotten unlucky. I've had two of them. I have several copies of these, but I have another blue one, not the one that I showed, and that black one where it's, you know, broken, which is unfortunate. So if you're not taking apart these decks, like opening up and using them a lot, these are great. If you are using them regularly, maybe don't use these. This is here basically the medium size, so we won't go over that. As you can imagine, it does fit the smaller size, very snug, naturally, since this is the 60 card size. And then we're going to go ahead and give it a shot with the larger side here, and it fits in pretty good as well. Can close it completely. I am interested in seeing if it will take the ultra large side, because another reason that I like these deck boxes is that I use these very thick sleeves, but it because of how tight they fit in this deck box, it actually takes out all of the air and like flattens these sleeves out so they're nice and flat, right? Whereas like this here, I just sleeved it, so it's a little bit bigger than it actually is, just because there's some air in between the sleeves, because there's just two sleeves. Of course, these are having some trouble fitting in here. I'm sure it'll fit in just fine in the 100 one, but does not seem like this one will fit, even though this is, you know, less than 60 cards, which is interesting. So that's been the Boulder, or I should say the Boulder from Ultimate Guard here. The price point is not too bad. They're not super durable. Ironically, I think the Ultra Pro is more durable, but they are really pretty and nice to have. They come in different sizes, so they can technically fit all of the sizes we have here, but I'm sure some sizes will not fit every size. Next up, we've got the Rayvol Premium deck box here. This one's very nice. It's a little bit higher quality. I assume this might be real leather. I'm not entirely sure. I know I have one that is actual leather, and I can't really tell the difference, to be honest. This comes in a couple of different colors, not too many. It is a little bit pricier than the Boulder and the Ultra Pro, but nothing, I think, bank breaking. It is a lot more sturdier than those, and it also has the magnets here, so this latches on pretty easily, so you shouldn't have any trouble with constantly opening and closing this, so it should technically last you forever. In terms of like the size, it is pretty decent. It fits a lot. This is the equivalent to the medium, and we have some space left here. If we take it out, this deck box, or this deck that I have here for Thegria, you'll notice that it comes with these little dividers here as well. So these come with the deck box. They're nothing too fancy. They're pretty, you know, sturdy, but they're just white. Don't really do too much for you. And as you can imagine, our small here fits pretty well, comes out relatively easy. The medium, which was already there. Here we've got ourselves our large, which has the standard size card. You got a nice bit of wiggle room here. It is a pretty tight fit because of the sleeves that I'm using actually add in a little bit of width to the cards here, but it does fit in. Just gotta be very careful because you do have a little bit of extra height, and as you can see here, all these sleeves that I have bought are not the same size, which is so obnoxious. So obnoxious. I've started to notice that, and I'm gonna stop buying these brands of sleeves because there's so many times where I've had them and they're just, some of them are just uneven. No matter how much I push down on it to try and arrange them, that's not gonna work. But if it weren't for that, this would close relatively snug. It does for the most part, but you can see it's a little open there. But this is the first deck box of what we looked at today that actually fits everything, right? So in summation, the Rayvol Premium is a pretty good product in my opinion. It's not extremely expensive. It is on the higher end side. It does come with a nice little bonus of these dividers here, and it is, you know, pretty clean product here, and it has a nice latch, so it is very durable and fits all of our sizes. Finally, we have ourselves the game Genic Vanguard Specific Nations Vault deck box, which is a product that kind of inspired this video. I saw a lot of other YouTubers doing unboxing reviews of this product because it is of course focused around Vanguard specifically, but of course you can use it for any of your other card games, and I was originally going to do that, but I figured why not go the extra mile and just review a bunch of deck boxes because I have so many of them. So this is actually my first time opening it. I believe I should read the instructions, which says lift the cover here, but we're gonna have to go ahead and snap that because it is taped down. There we go. And this is very nice. I have another deck box of a different brand that if I do another video of these I'd like to go over, but it opens up here and it's sort of more of a cube design here. The texture on the outside is pretty nice. I'm not entirely sure what it is. It doesn't feel like leather. It might be fake leather. And then you have, this comes in 6 different designs. They're all designs and colors that match the nation that they're based off. This is for Dragon Empire, which is why it's red, but they have a bunch of other different ones, and they have the Vanguard emblem here, which is very nice. You have these things here, which are supposed to hold in some of your cards that you need separate from your main deck, but I've heard a lot of people complain about these, that they're not the best and they don't want to use them. And you've got yourself a nice little thank you. Cool. And then here we've got ourselves at the bottom, which is one of our first deck boxes that actually has a slot for your dice and other coins or whatever markers, etc. that you need. It has this little compartment here. That's where this is. So this comes out. So it is pretty decent deck box, I think. In terms of the sizes, I think it should fit most of our sizes here. It is advertised specifically for Vanguard, designed for Vanguard, so as these are Vanguard cards, it'll fit in. If you play Yu-Gi-Oh, it should fit in for you just well. And it closes just fine, and I believe these are specifically advertised for double sleeves, is what I think I've heard. So we're gonna go ahead and put this here and already have some issues. I don't think you can put them this way because that is too high. So you've got to just put them in this way. And it does fit. It's very snug to the top there, but you can make it fit there. And it does close. So at least for my massive oversleeves, it does actually work, which is good. As for you standard size card gamers here, we've got our large here. Let's go ahead and try and put that in there. And it actually does fit really nicely for the single sleeve standard size. Very nice. This is again 55 cards. Fits in pretty good. And it closes. And getting the cards doesn't seem too hard at all. So much easier than all the other stuff. Then for our extra large here, it will actually not fit at all. A single card barely fits here, so for the double sleeved extra large standard size, it will not fit, as was probably expected. For this here, you're supposed to insert some cards here, either your favorite cards or cards that you need separate, so like a Digitama egg or a ride deck, for example. And I think the issue with it is that it is just like really snug and tight, so you might end up damaging your cards. And I don't believe it fits something that is like my double sleeve. Oh no, it actually fits, but it will only fit, I believe, one of them here. Yeah, we don't want to put that other one there, so it only fit that one, which is a-okay. So that does it for the game Genic Nation Vault deck box. I'm not the super biggest fan of the texture, to be honest. It seems a little too rough and coarse for me. But it is a nice deck box to have. The designs are pretty cool as well. The price is, I think, the most expensive we've looked at so far. And it does have the compartments, which is really nice, and these if you're into that, and it fits the majority of the sizes. Of course, it does not fit our extra large, so keep that in mind if you're interested into getting this. Last but not least, we have here a deck box from Mana Moon, who is a name you might have seen a lot in all of my videos because I always put it in the description, stating that the sleeves and mats used in the video are more than likely from her. She is an online seller that makes custom deck boxes, sleeves, etc. And I've been a loyal customer for God knows how long, and I have just about all her products. This is not sponsored, by the way, I just really like her products. And she has a series of deck boxes here. They're all in the same style of deck box, but they have different designs on them. This here is an Akiza one, which we'll take a look at in a bit. But they are a pretty decent size because it is bigger than all of the other deck boxes we've looked at so far, because they have, you know, a couple of extras inside of them, but they're also not too big where it's extremely cumbersome to carry them around. But let's go ahead and take a look at the inside here. So we've got ourselves a beautiful design here of Akiza with some roses. Looks very nice. It might be a little bit bright, but you can take a look at that there. And we can see the pattern is repeated here on the inside of the deck box. There. Looks very beautiful. And what I just pulled out here are dividers that come with the box. They look really nice. They are leather. I think the whole box is leather, and it has these flower designs on them, or I should say rose, which are very nice. The thing I like about these is that they're not super rigid, so they have, you know, some pull on them. They can bend. They're pretty pliable, but they're leather, so they're pretty smooth. So it's not like if you were put, you know, really hard dividers that might end up accidentally bending or hurting your cards or your sleeves. These are just really soft, so you shouldn't have any issues with that. And you get 3 of them, and they have these like tabs on top as well, so you can very easily split up your cards and grab them pretty easily, you know, grabbing the dividers or however it is that you'd like to do it. We also have this part here, which is for the dice, which just comes apart. Has, of course, the same design inside, and it's a pretty decent size. I have a couple of different deck boxes here, and I'll show off the designs and whatnot in a bit. But here's what it looks like with dice in it. That's pretty good arrangement there. This is the one I personally use for Lukier. Has, you know, good assortment of different things here. So you have an ample space to put in a bunch of different dice, coins, markers, whatever it is that you need. The deck box here, or the dice box I should say, snaps on, has some pretty good, you know, durability there, as well as the box itself. It is magnetic here, so it holds on into place pretty easily. As for the size of the actual container of the box, it is a pretty good size, I would say. So let's give it the good old size test here. So we've got ourselves our small here, which fits in really comfortably, even if you throw in your dividers there. Very nice. Got ourselves the medium, which I know fits, especially with the dividers, because this is the typical size that I use these with. So in general, Mana Moon makes products for Yu-Gi-Oh! Or using Yu-Gi-Oh! Designs as a Yu-Gi-Oh! Player herself, but she also encompasses sleeves and deck boxes that fit the standard size of sleeves, so not just the Japanese small. You can see here our large fits in very comfortably with the dividers as well. And finally, our extra large here actually fits in just as nicely as all the other ones, and you also have room for the dividers. This might be a little bit more smug than all the other ones, as you can probably expect, but you still have plenty of room here to fit in extra cards or the dividers, whatever you may need. So this is the one version of the deck box that I have. Let's take a look at the other ones. Got a Pokemon with the champion Cynthia on it, and this is what the inside looks like. It's got a bunch of the Pokemon that Cynthia herself uses, and that came with this dice box here. So that was the one that had these smaller amounts of dice. And we've also got this Succubus design here, which is just an original character from Mana Moon herself here. This is the one that I've used the most. This is the first one I've got, which is why it has a little bit of wear and tear. In general, for these types of deck boxes, you will get a couple of like scratches and stuff if you're not super careful with them. So it is the leather, so it will, you know, peel eventually, I guess, if you're not taking good care of it. But the design itself inside is hopefully not too unsafe for work. Maybe if I do one of these, YouTube will leave me alone. But it looks very beautiful. I immediately, once I got it, I wanted to use it for Lukier because it is very, very fitting. You can see here I have the cards here for Lukier, actually. There's Lillian, and I'm using the dividers, and it's very easy as I let go to pull out all your cards that way. That, of course, came with this one, which was a little bit more filled up. That does it for the Mana Moon deck boxes that I have. I don't have too many of them. In order to get these, you have to pre-order them ahead of time, because I believe she makes these to order, and they sell out rather quickly. You can follow her site or her socials to find out about it. I've ordered a couple more that haven't come in yet, and I'm excited to try them out. But I would recommend this. These are, of course, on the higher end side. They're more expensive than any of the other deck boxes, the most expensive. They're also a lot more luxurious, more difficult to get. So I don't know if I would necessarily say I recommend it, but if you can get your hands on them, it is a very good product. Try not to be super rough on them because it is very good quality, but of course you don't want to get them all scuffed up and dirty. So if you're the type to throw your deck boxes around in the sand or the dirt, maybe don't buy this. It does fit all of your sizes, and it is durable for the most part. I haven't had any issues with like the designs rubbing out or anything like that. But yeah, like you saw, I have a few scuffs on my Lukier one. Not specifically, but the one I use for Lukier, which has been unfortunate, but that's just on me. That'll do it for the video today. I hope you guys enjoyed that and it was at least some kind of helpful. If you found hopefully a deck box that you like from these, please let me know in the comments. Or if there's any deck boxes you'd like me to take a look at, I wouldn't mind doing this again. I have, like I said, a couple of other deck boxes that I'd like to go over, so maybe we'll do a part 2 of this. And if you do like these kinds of things, maybe I can do this for sleeves or something like that, because I do buy a lot of sleeves. But till next time, take care of yourselves and each other, play Vanguard, or whatever card game you'd like, and have yourselves a damn good one.